Good afternoon. I was gonna start the stream at midday, but it just wasn't gonna happen. But we've started much later than this. You know what I'm saying? We've started much later than this, so it's okay. But today I'm on the one laptop. My other monitor that I use, it's starting to break down on me a little bit, but it's okay. I'm gonna get me another one. I'm gonna get me another one, and then we'll be back. So I might not be able to see the chat as good as I normally do today, but it's all good. I'm gonna be checking it. It is a pretty nice day here in northern New Jersey. It's not quite as beaming hot as it has been. It's about 82 degrees outside and sunny. We got Queen Fritz in the building. Hello. It's about 82 degrees and sunny outside, and I'm feeling pretty good. I think I mentioned to y'all before that I'm moving back to St. Louis for a couple months, probably like 4 or 5 months, and then I'm going to come back out here to the Jersey, New York area, and that's going to help out a lot. It's going to help out a lot. When I move back, I'll just have some money in my pocket, and I'll be able to move around more. I'll be able to go to events. I'll be able to travel. I'll be able to handle business a lot more smooth than I have been. But the good news is that over the last, half a year or so, I've caught up on everything I was behind on, all my bills. I've caught up on everything. So now all I got to do is keep it moving forward. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go back and really dig in, really focus, and that's just going to elevate everything. Doctor Who gives a F. What's going on? How you doing today? Man, I turned this AC off, but I'm getting ready to turn it back on in a second. But we gonna get into it. We gonna get into it. And again, I have just the one computer monitor today. So it's gonna I won't be able to see the chat is good. But I'm gonna hold on, let's see. I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna go turn on this AC because I'm realizing um excuse me, I'm realizing that it's about to get hot. I'm just looking at all the because we got a lot to go over today. People are really giving Biden, not letting up on him. So it's like, you know, it's easy to say drop out, but is that actually going to happen? I don't know. Like, how would that even go down? We got Kiki in the building. What's going on? How's everybody doing? We got Kiki. We got Areola. Yes. All right. Let's see what's up real quick. Let me go ahead and play this. I need to turn on this AC real quick, and then I'll be right back. So let's check out what Lindsey Graham has to say. He's promising retribution against Biden if Trump wins, and it's looking like Trump probably will. So
Most importantly, his policies are not working. And Jim Clyburn said, if you like what's going on, going to get more of it. 70% of the people in this country think we're going in the wrong direction. The Democrats keep calling President Trump a felon. Well, be careful what you wish for. I expect there will be investigations of Biden's criminality at the border. If I'm Mayorkas, I should be worried that somebody's going to come after you because you've abused the parole statute. The Hunter Biden laptop, all 51 of the people who signed a letter saying the laptop was fake and Russian disinformation. I hope somebody looks at you because that's election interference. So this country is going to have a resetting here, and using the Biden standard of glorifying political prosecutions, Pandora's box has been opened. Whether he steps down or not, accountability is coming to him.
I want to get to a couple of important issues, sir, but you just warned of retribution.
Yeah. I warned that the Pandora's box opened by the Democrats is going to be applied here. There should be an investigation of Mayorkas and Biden for abusing the parole statute that led to the murder of Laken Riley. They let the accused killer out because of lack of capacity. They paroled him illegally. I think the criminality of the Biden border policy should be looked at. We should look at how people lied about the Hunter Biden laptop being fake when it was real. Yeah, I expect people to look at that. You had a January 6th committee looking at what happened on January 6th. I hope there'll be a committee looking at border policies that have led to the rape and murder of lots of Americans, people from 18
Lots of Americans.
To 30 dying by fentanyl poisoning coming through a broken border. Yeah, I hope that does happen.
Well, there you have it. And it's definitely going to happen if Donald Trump crosses the finish line. It's definitely going to end up happening. But yeah, I that was I don't even know if I want to call that strange. It's expected for them to be doing that because if Donald Trump wins, that's all he's going to do. All he's going to do is seek retribution against anybody who has come after him in any type of way. And he's gonna, try to pardon himself for anything that he can. And he's just gonna cause a bunch of chaos. That's what he's gonna do. So, man, people are really, really going crazy on Joe Biden. But I mean, I don't like if he got replaced at the convention or something, like they would have to really be making moves for that to happen now, because we don't have a year until November. We have a handful of months until November. So if they were to actually do that, then they would have to get moving. But I really don't know how they would make that happen in the first place. Uh so um 72% of Americans don't think Biden has the mental and cognitive health to be president. All right. And y'all may have seen this already because this is from a few days ago. I'm sure that y'all have seen this. So this is a CBS News YouGov that came out Sunday. 72% of Americans believe Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president. That's a 7-point increase from just 3 weeks ago. By comparison, voters are essentially split on whether former President Donald Trump has the mental and cognitive health for the job, with 50% saying he does and 49% saying he does not. And then, there were reports that came out that showed that Biden has a difficult time functioning after 4 p.m. So, I mean, if they're not going to replace him, then he's going to have to campaign very hard. They're going to have to load him up with all the stimulants in the pharmacy, like literally every single stimulant that the pharmacy has to offer. Go ahead and shoot it up in him. And he needs to be on the campaign trail. He needs to be convincing people that it actually was a bad night. He would have to convince people that it was a bad night, but he needs to do that like last week. He needs to do that now. And then obviously at the next debate, I mean, would Trump even show up to it? Who knows? Maybe he won't. But it seems like his family wants him to stay in. There's reports that White House aides really don't spend a lot of time around him. Regardless of what you think, the perception is that Democrats have been hiding Biden's cognitive state. And again, no matter how you feel about it, no matter, what threat Trump poses, the way we feel and the way that we see things is not the way that everybody feels and the way that everybody sees things. So, who could he be replaced with? Gavin Newsom, pretty much anybody, I guess. But again, if they're going to do that, then they have to do it now. But at the same time, it's like, on the one hand, yeah, Biden's debate performance really shook a lot of people up. But then on the other end, there's Trump. So it's not a great situation for the country to be in. That's for damn sure. Because we see how determined Republicans are to just fuck everything up for everybody. I mean, they just gave this man immunity, and and the immunity that they gave for official acts, but what counts as an official act versus not an official act, So hold on, here's another poll. This is from today. So let's pull this up. And this is showing it. Well, I saw the headline, but it looks like this is a CNN poll. Hold up, let me bring this up. Sorry, y'all. I got one monitor today, so it's just a little slower. CNN survey shows Trump Biden matchup unchanged after debate.
Take a look overall at the state of the race in our brand new poll. 49% Donald Trump, 43% Joe Biden.
Okay, well, he's still losing. He's still losing. So, I mean, again, if you're gonna stay in the race, then you better pump yourself up with meth. You better be on crack cocaine from now until forever. To convince people that you got the energy, or bow out. Because if he did drop out, I think people will respect him for it. I mean, you look, man, you're 81. You've been in public life for what, 50 plus years? I mean, a little more than that, about 50 years or so he's been in public life. And I think he was 20 something years old when he became senator. He was like one of the youngest elected senators at the time. Absolutely, Biden has a mixed record, a very mixed bag. He's, like, whether you want to talk about like three strikes laws, his contribution to the current state of the incarceration system, his contribution to student loan debt and credit card debt, stuff like, and obviously what's going on with the Palestinians right now and his support for Netanyahu. But, again, he can still bow out gracefully. And if he did, I think it would be a noble thing and he would look good. But, that may just be a pipe dream, honestly.
Biden. This is a 6-point lead, Dana, and this is unchanged since our last poll in April. In fact, it's been a remarkably consistent race with Joe Biden trailing Donald Trump just outside the margin of error for quite some time. If you look back in our trend here, you see it was identical in April, 49-43. You see nothing has really changed since last August. By last fall, this race is kind of locked into place.
That's remarkable to look at that, even just from April to now. Exactly the same.
Identical. And the Biden campaign will say to folks, see, the debate didn't change the state of the race. Of course, when you're 6 points down, you kind of needed the debate to change.
Exactly. Again, you could say, hey, look, nothing really has changed, but you're still down. You're still down 6 points. So it's just, he doesn't really have a good argument right now.
The state of the race. I was talking about what was locked in here. So 65% of the electorate say their mind is made up. If your mind is made up in this poll, you're splitting 53% for Trump, 45% for Biden. However, 31% of voters in the poll say they are movable. Either they don't have a first choice or they're not locked in. They're willing to move off of who they're saying their choice is right now. 31% of the electorate's movable. They split more evenly, 39% for Trump, 37% for Biden. Obviously, Joe Biden needs to be working on this movable crowd of nearly a third of the electorate, whether those that don't have a choice or actually with Trump right now, but could move to improve his standing.
And talk about what is driving the voters on these numbers.
This is going to be welcome news to Biden because the race is still largely about Donald Trump as the motivating factor, right? Even after the debate. This is among Biden supporters, Dana. What would your vote be more to vote against Trump or for Biden? 63% say against Trump. 37% say for Biden. And I will say this 37 is actually a slight improvement for Biden, where a bit more of his voters are saying they're actually voting for him. But overall, the thrust for Biden supporters is they want to vote against Trump, not for Biden. It's the complete reversal for Trump supporters. 2/3 of Trump supporters are casting their ballot for Donald Trump. 34% say they're casting against Joe Biden. Again, we see a slight uptick here for Trump among those voting for him, too. So we're seeing both Trump and Biden sort of consolidate their fellow partisans.
What about the debate?
Boom. All right. Yeah, it's not looking good. Again, if he doesn't step aside, he's going to have to really, really turn it around. But that's up to him. I still think that I know a lot of my progressive colleagues think that this is going to cause Democrats to lose down ballot, but I don't really agree with that. Because Democrats have not been losing down ballot, and mostly abortion has been driving it. So I don't suspect that women are going to be like, you know what, I don't care about my abortion rights because of Joe Biden. So I don't really agree with that personally. Obviously, we'll still see, but I don't think people who care about women's rights, gay rights, I mean, the Supreme Court is going after everything. So I don't really buy that. Obviously, I think that if Joe Biden stays in the race, I think he's going to lose. I think if either he needs to drop out or he needs to significantly turn it around. That's the only way he can do it. But again, I don't agree with a lot of my colleagues that this is going to cause Democrats to just lose everywhere, because again, minority communities aren't going to wake up and be like, you know what, I don't care about my rights because Joe Biden's old. So I still think there's really good opportunity for progressives and just good policy to win at the ballot box. But I think it's clear that all the evidence is pointing to Joe Biden should step down. That's what I see. But is he going to do it? Nah, I don't know. I don't think so. But we'll see. But again, I think that Democrats will still do pretty well down ballot because because there's so many important issues. All right. Y'all have probably seen a lot of these clips because I didn't stream yesterday. But let's get into this. Hold on, give me a sec. Let me pull this up. Yeah, again, I think people are still going to show up to the polls, like for the same reasons that they usually do. But Biden is definitely not in a good position. That really can't be argued. I mean, he hasn't been in a good position, but now he really is not. All right, let's check this out. This is from yesterday. And I mean, basically, it's just like with this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up Sotomayor's statement that she said about this, because again, like y'all have already seen a lot of this. So let me pull up this immunity statement real quick. Bam, bam. It's pulling up all these sources I gotta pay for. Hold on. All right, give me a sec, y'all. My bad. Again, I got just the one screen today, so it's a little slower. Meow, meow, meow. Man, it's so much more difficult when you're just using one screen. I mean, it's not difficult. It just takes longer. Having multiple screens really helps out. Okay, let me pull up this Sotomayor. Let me pull this up real quick. Read her dissent. Here we go. She said, quote, "The court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president, upsetting the status quo that has existed since the founding." Hold on, where's the full thing? This majority's project will have disastrous consequences for the presidency and for our democracy. She ended by saying, "With fear for our democracy, I dissent." And here's more. "It is a far greater danger if the president feels empowered to violate federal criminal law, buoyed by the knowledge of future immunity. I am deeply troubled by the idea that our nation loses something valuable when the president is forced to operate within the confines of federal criminal law." Yeah, I mean, and again, what is Trump going to do with this? Who knows? Who knows what he's going to do with it? Who knows what any of these psychos are going to do with this? It's just not a good position for us to be in, because Project 2025 and just that whole ilk of the country, they really do want to rip this shit to shreds. That's what they want. They talk about rebuilding, but they want to tear it down, because in their eyes, this nation was long stolen from them. Not recently, but like these are people who were lost. Lost causes haven't gone away. That whole idea that this country really took a wrong turn, that is still very much alive. Clearly, it's moved from slavery to like women's rights to gay rights, black and brown rights, general economic rights, stuff like that. Roll all of it back. And why where's the line that they're going to stop at? Where's the line? These people are out of their minds. These people are absolutely out of their minds. All right. Let's see. But yeah, Biden is going to if he's not going to drop out, he's going to have to he's got to get FaceTime. People got to see his face. He's going to have to convince people that I had a bad night. That's not how I am all the time. But right now, ain't looking too good. But again, I personally I disagree with a lot of my progressive colleagues who are saying that that Democrats are just going to lose everywhere. Nah, I think that people are still going to show up to the polls to vote for, their uteruses and shit like that. People haven't forgotten about that. But Supreme Court declines to hear a series of challenges to laws barring felons and drug users from having guns. The Supreme Court said Tuesday that it won't take up a challenge to parts of a federal law that bar convicted felons and drug users from possessing firearms, and let stand a ban on assault-style weapons in Illinois. The decisions come days after the High Court upheld a separate provision of the same federal disarmament law and the biggest Second Amendment case to reach the justices in 2 years. The court's majority had a restriction of domestic abusers possessing firearms was constitutional because it was in the line of a tradition of firearm regulation, disarming dangerous individuals. Weeks after the fact that this country is America is so obsessed with guns, and I've been saying this. I've been talking a lot of shit about how Americans just want to shoot people, and it's the truth. So Americans love the idea, and obviously I'm generalizing right now, but Americans overall love the idea of being able to shoot and kill somebody just in case. Just in case. You never know. I mean, sure, there's nothing wrong, I guess, with having a shotgun in your house, or there's nothing wrong per se with the idea of self-defense, but I mean, the places that people get massacred in this country, at concerts, in nightlife venues, in churches, in elementary schools, the kinds of weapons that people can buy in this country. Why do you need assault style weapons? What are you going to do with that? You can't, excuse me, it's, and then in other countries where people just simply aren't allowed to purchase these types of firearms, you don't see mass violence with guns. You don't see it. And one of the biggest reasons, not just that they can't purchase them, but the culture, man. Americans want to shoot people. The end. I mean, it's so permeated that they're like, you know what? If you got a bunch of felonies and you're out of your goddamn mind, you should still be able to own a gun. Like, don't you think those are the exact people who shouldn't own guns? Like, why do we have to give them a chance? They already had their chance. And even at that, listen, I grew up where I grew up and how I grew up, okay? I grew up around people who always had guns, and a whole lot of them are dead, right? They guns did not keep them alive. And there's plenty of evidence to show that having a gun makes you more likely to get shot. Because if everybody has guns and you're like, ooga booga, I got a gun, then somebody else is probably going to pull out a gun and shoot you. You look at these stories in Florida, and they'll be like just a random disagreement at the pool, and here comes this woman's husband with a gun. Because Americans want to shoot people, man. Americans want to shoot people. It's really that simple. And obviously, the majority of Americans want common sense gun laws, but still, it's like the arguments are falling flat. And the longer that nothing's done about gun violence, the more and more people are going to be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Just take people's guns away from them. The more nothing happens. So I guess it's good that they upholded this, but at the same time, they just made bump stocks available again. So, you know, the case related to Hunter Biden. Oh yeah, and this is why some of them were like, I think it was what's his name? Thomas something, I think, or I don't remember his name, but he's a libertarian, and he was like, "Hold your horses, guys. We don't want to take guns away from drug addicts because when typically when you're zoinked out of your fucking mind when you're geeked up, exactly, there could just be a kid playing loud music, and here comes somebody with a gun. That's the country we live in. But again, as somebody, look, I have a history of drug use. It's never been really bad, but I definitely at times have consumed too many drugs, like for sure. And usually when I'm doing way too much speed is when I'm the most depressed and the most unstable and the most just generally out of my mind, right? So no, man. And it's so disheartening. Like this shit is just ridiculous, man. But again, I guess it's good that the Supreme Court was like, no, maybe we shouldn't do that. But still, and yeah, a lot of these stories we're not going to go over because I know that y'all have already seen them because y'all follow politics heavily. Like the Gretchen Whitmer statement where she said Biden's already lost Michigan, and then she revoked this statement. We don't really need to go over that because again, I know that y'all have seen that already. But yeah, no, the Supreme Court with this whole official acts. Where do you draw the line with that? Where do you draw the line with that? Uh yes, and then of course, Trump was right on it. Trump got right on it as soon as the Supreme Court ruled for that. They was like, you see, we got Euless. What's going on, brother Euless? How you doing? I'm all right. I'm doing all right, man. I'm feeling good. Um, Things are moving along. The relationships in my life are pretty healthy right now. They're solid, and I have a good plan for the summer that's gonna put a lot of money in my pockets. Um, I'm going back home to St. Louis for a couple months. My parents are gonna let me stay there and stack up some money, and then when I come back out here to the New York area, I'm gonna have some money in my pocket, and that's just gonna make me more productive. I'll be able to go to events. I'll be able to go network. Which will ultimately make all of us more successful. You know what I'm saying? So, um, exactly. Doctor Who gives a fuck. Again, like per se, there's nothing wrong with the idea of self defense, but it's like you know everybody shouldn't have guns. Like it's just I don't like how can you even argue that? Like, what are we talking about? And again, like I said, I grew, most of the people I know who were shot and killed had guns on them at the time. So it's it's not a sure it's not necessarily going to keep you alive, especially depending on what type of lifestyle that you live. Like if you in the streets like that and you got beef with people, well, it probably that's a whole nother issue. But it's just really disheartening every time somebody runs up in a school and kills a bunch of children. And it's like, no, we shouldn't do anything about this. Like, man, if y'all don't do something, then people are just gonna call for everybody's guns to be taken away. And y'all claim that, and when I say y'all, I mean like the regulators, like you act like that's not what you want. Well, throw people a bone then. Act like you care about children's lives. It's just it's so frustrating because all of us have become desensitized to it. You know what I'm saying? All of us have become desensitized to it because it happens so often. And it's sad. It's fucking sad, man. Like I don't have children, but I can't imagine what it would be like to get a call and be like idiot came into the school and shot your child. Like what? Like you never get over no shit like that, man. I don't care who you are. I don't care how spiritually strong you are. You're never fully gonna get over that. Trump hails himself with complete and total modesty for disembowelment of Biden. Many have called it the greatest single debate performance. Nah, let's slow your roll, bro. Slow your roll. And that's the other thing. It's like, it's very true that Joe Biden had a bad night. But Trump did not have a good night. At one point, Trump was like, when I was president, we had immaculate H2O. We had the most immaculate H2O. Like, huh? Like, dude, what? What does that mean? There's H2O in this cup right now. And last I checked, a lot of Americans are drinking dirty water, taking showers with dirty water. Exactly, twin. It's like now, slow your roll, Donald. Slow your roll. You had a very, very bad night too. I mean, the reason that everybody's up in arms about Donald, about Joe Biden, is because of what it would mean if Trump becomes president. That's why everybody's freaking out. It's like, whoa, because everybody knows if Donald Trump becomes president, it's just gonna be chaos, man. It's gonna be insanity, and it's not gonna be good. So people are like, whoa, but Trump, you did not have a good night. Oh, here we go. What did he say? On True Social, he says, only three things could have been the reason that crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States, failed so badly at the debate on Thursday night. He said, they were, one, Trump was really great. Hey, of course. Of course. The number one reason, and the reason that, I guess is the most straightforward, is Donald Trump's just the fucking man. You know what I'm saying? He's just the fucking man. He's that fucking cool. He's that amazing that it just Joe Biden was a deer in the headlights. He could not handle the cool rays that was coming out of Donald Trump. Okay, in all fairness, and I say in complete and total modesty, many on both sides of the political spectrum have said it was the greatest single debate performance in the long and storied history of presidential debates. Again, no. People are not saying that. No one's saying that, Donald. But we'll let you have that because there's no convincing him that people aren't saying that. So, thank you, and of course he's thanking them. Thank you. I did really well. I did exceptionally well. And when I kept saying that I won in 2020 and that the insurrectionists are heroes and that immigrants are the problem and the cause of absolutely everything in the country. Like, nah, bro, you had a bad night. Okay. Crooked Joe choked like a dog. And 3, Joe is a cognitive mess. No, he isn't done. He says, it could be combinations of all 3. But ask yourself this question as a proud citizen of the United States of America, which no longer means a thing to many as millions of people flow into our country totally unchecked and unvetted. Would you rather have a president who is a choker or a president who is a cognitive mess? So which one is that? Because if it's between two, you said, would you rather have a choker or a cognitive mess? So that means that one of these people, see, this is hilarious. Donald Trump, that means that one of these people is you because you gave us a choice. You just gave us a binary choice, this or that, a very black and white choice. One of them is a choker. One of them is a cognitive mess, which means that one of those is you or both of them. It's incredible. This man is absolutely amazing. Also, did my debate performance play a role in Joe's total disembowelment before the world? Our fake historians over at CNN and MSNBC would like to know. Oh, he isn't done yet. Strange things happen in big-time politics, and believe me, this is big-time politics. No one knew that. Believe me, the presidential race is big time politics. Just in case you didn't realize.
During my debate on Thursday night with crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country and the president that is illegally and strictly for political gain trying to put me in jail, I watched a man firsthand choke under tremendous pressure, the likes of which he has never seen before.
God, this dude, man. Oh. Can we please not? Can we please not do this, man? Can we please not? God. This is something else. This really is something else. Right, exactly. Facts, exactly. The water boy. What was his name? Bobby Boucher. Shout out to Bobby Boucher for giving Donald Trump all the inspiration he needed to give us the best H2O, because Bobby Boucher could make water like nobody else. But yeah, it's I mean and again that was hilarious because he was like, would you rather have a choker or someone who's cognitively impaired? Like, one of those is you. So, God, this is so ridiculous. Oh, what's up with this? Hold on, let me see. Oh no, we don't need to watch that. No, we definitely don't need to watch that at all. I'm exiting out of stuff because again, I know that y'all have seen a lot of this. Oh, okay. What's up? Hold on, let me pull this up. Boom, boom, boom. Bam. Trump hush money prosecutors agree to sentencing delay. Donald Trump's July 11th sentencing on charges stemming from hush money paid to a porn star may be delayed after prosecutors said on Tuesday they don't object to giving the former U.S. president a chance to argue he should have been immune from prosecution. Trump lawyers on Monday asked that they be permitted to argue his conviction in New York State Court in Manhattan should be set aside due to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling this week that presidents are entitled to immunity from criminal prosecution. Why would this be set aside if this happened before you became president? But then again, that's the thing. It's like, where do you draw the line? Like, what does official acts actually mean? Trump faces an uphill battle getting the conviction overturned since much of the conduct at issue in the case predated his time in office. Exactly. But prosecutors' agreement to delay the sentencing makes it more likely Justice Juan Merchan will push back the date and consider the immunity argument. Any delay of sentencing would lift the specter of Trump, the Republican presidential candidate, facing possible confinement just days before the Republican National Convention begins in Milwaukee on July 15th. In Monday's landmark ruling, a 6-3 majority of the U.S. Supreme Court justices wrote that Donald Trump can do whatever the hell he feels like. He can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter what. Let him get away with it. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Boom. Okay, what's up with this? We're going to check this out. Right, exactly. He did it before that. I was like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, didn't this happen before he was elected? There may be just a few issues with that. But then again, you never know. You never know, man. Especially not in today's times. All right, what we got here? We got longtime Democratic operative says Biden turned in the worst performance in presidential campaign history.
What's your take? Obviously, it was not a good debate performance, but beyond that,
man, I mean, I don't know if I'm really surprised, but maybe I am a little surprised at just how much heat Biden really has been getting after Thursday night. I mean, everybody is talking about it. I mean, people who normally wouldn't. So it's man, this really is unprecedented. Don't nobody know what the hell is going to happen. No one. We have never been in a situation like this, right? At least Bannon's in jail. At least we got that. At least we got that. You know, right? Nixon's rolling in his grave like, damn, I could have had another term. I could have done it. I could have finished it out. I didn't need to. I didn't need to take the high road. But yeah. All right, let's continue.
Should he be the nominee? Should he be president?
Well, I like when he said, well, it wasn't a good night. Really? Really? I didn't notice. It wasn't just it was the worst night, the worst performance in presidential campaign history. Seriously. And I've been doing this a long time. It was a catastrophe. They set up the debate to quell the questions about his age. And I don't really think they accomplished that. Look, here's what's going to happen. Members are going home now for 4th of July, members of Congress. And they're going to hear from their constituents. It may well be that the comments we're getting from the Biden high command are correct. And everybody will say, gee, I love that guy. Bad night. Don't worry about it. Back him up. But it may be what I think voters are going to say, are you out of your mind? Because Democrats are worried that not only will Biden lose to Trump, but that he'll drag down the House and the Senate as well. And you'll have a MAGA trifecta, which Mr. Trump himself says will be a dictatorship, at least for a day.
Again, this is totally unprecedented, man. Like, nobody really can act like they know exactly. I mean, is Biden going to drop out? Like, what? I don't know. It's not looking like it, but he is man. He is really catching a lot of heat. So if he wants to turn it around, he better start today. Like, you better start today, man. You bet, because, like, again, if he was in his 50s or 60s or even in his earlier 70s, people wouldn't be as concerned about it. It would have been like, okay, yeah, he can bounce back, but that ain't the sentiment right now. That is not the sentiment. Professor who predicted 9 of 10 elections tells CNN taking Biden out could not be more misguided. So let's see what he has to say.
What will happen with President Biden and his presidential campaign? There are people out there wondering whether he should stay in the race. However, no prominent elected Democrats have said that he should drop out just yet. And one historian who has predicted 9 out of 10 presidential elections says replacing the president could cost Democrats in November. With us now is Alan Lichtman, presidential historian and history professor at American University. Professor, when we last heard from you Friday night with Abby Phillip, you said no, replacing President Biden would be a mistake. You've had 2 more days to think about it. How do you feel this morning?
Even more strongly that it would be a mistake. You know, all of those who are calling for Biden's withdrawal, they have 0 track record in predicting elections. And yet they presume to tell us what the Democrats need to do to win this election. And remember, all the pundits, watched Hillary Clinton win 3 debates in 2016. They all said Trump was finished after Access Hollywood, and they are so often wrong. I have a system, as you know, that's been successful. I would say 10 of 10, but we can argue about 2000 since 1984. And the way it works, I have 13 keys. If 6 fall against the White House party, they're predicted losers. Biden ticks off the incumbency key, and he ticks off the party contest key. You push him out, you lose the incumbency key, and you lose the contest key. So instead of starting 2 keys up and having 6 more keys to fall to predict the Democrats' defeat, they start 2 keys down, and only 4 more keys would have to fall. Moreover, how often since the turn of the 20th century has the party holding the White House ever won in an open seat with an uncertain or contested nomination? The answer is never. And that's what all these critics would be setting up if they push Biden out of this race. They could not be more misguided. And in terms of Biden's capacities, I'm not a neurologist. They're not neurologists. They have no standing to comment on that. And I would only say far better to judge Biden by 3 and 3/4 years or so of his presidency than 90 minutes.
I mean, well, I think there whatever keys that he's using, I'm sure they're definitely, incumbency, that's generally important, sure. And what did he say? The competitive key. Yeah, that's general, but also, I mean, when was the last time I think he said this was that he had this system going since the 80s. When was the last time that an incumbent was viewed as unable to continue another 4 years? I mean, other than maybe Donald Trump in 2020. But besides for that, um, I don't, like what other precedent do we really have to go off of for this? So I think, I think that there definitely should be concern about how you go about doing anything. Like if you're going to replace Biden, then you can't just willy nilly do it. It's you got to have a plan. You got to have somebody that everybody, not when I say everybody agrees on, there just has to be enough of a consensus for there to be like, okay, fuck it, let's go with this guy. So you couldn't just do it without a plan. But also on the other end, I mean, what I, what are you really going to argue? People don't want Biden. I mean, people don't want Trump either, but um Trump's voting base is much more enthusiastic about him being in office than anybody who would show up to the polls for Democrats. I mean, a lot really what's going to drive this election is, abortion rights and just, basic human rights. That's what's going to push people to the polls to vote Democrat. But, again, I think that that guy, obviously he has credibility, but he doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't know for sure. And, you know, better safe than sorry. I mean, Aaron, you said it a few comments ago. It's not as if he's winning in the polls. You don't even have that argument. He's losing in the polls. What do we really have to lose? So, um, yeah. And also sometimes you got to switch it up because from the 80s until now, the establishment is the wheels have fallen off. Like the machine is broken. There needs to be change. The way society operates and functions is not exactly how it was. It's an end of an era. So I think that the rules are definitely a bit different. And now we got James Carville, who's calling for Democrats to also replace Biden. And Carville, as I'm sure all of you know, is a very staunch Democratic operative. So again, just further evidence of the sentiment that people are not confident with Joe Biden. Exacerbated James Carville demands Democrats nominate someone other than Biden. It doesn't make any sense.
Bring in Democratic strategist James Carville, the former lead strategist for Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign. James, can President Biden win re-election this November?
It doesn't. That's not the real question here. The real question here is we have a Supreme Court that's bought and paid for by RVs and fishing lodges. We have a country that 72% want something different. If the Democratic Party can't produce something different that 72% of people want, then why do we exist? What are we here for? I mean, the country is clamoring for change. And what are we going to offer them? The same stuff? It doesn't make any sense, Jake. Give the people what they want. Vox populi. They want something different. Let's give it to them. I mean, I just don't get the whole thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm from Bucks, and everybody saw what they saw Thursday night. I don't take any pleasure in this. This was a year ago. I'm going to be 80 in October. You can't fight this stuff. It's just there.
So what happens? What do you think the Democrats should do?
Something different. All right. And I don't know.
Now, on the one hand, it's easy to agree with James Carville that what he said, 72% of the base, doesn't want Joe Biden. So if we can't give them somebody else, why are we here? But he wasn't really talking like this up until after Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't talking like this until after Thursday. James Carville, I mean, as far as I know, up until now, was saying that everybody needs to shut up and just vote. Just go with Biden. Um, that's what I remember him saying. But again, I guess after Thursday, you just can't you can't deny it. I guess that's what it is.
It'll be messy. It'll be a mess. And you know, that's what change is. But if the Democratic Party is so committed to the status quo and so committed to sticking with something that 3/4 of the country doesn't want, then we have to say, why do we exist? What are we here for? But in mine, we were here to change civil rights. We were here to bring change in Medicare and do great things and family and medical leave and expanding health care and great things that are all part of my party and why I love it. But if we can't bring something that people want, I have to doubt our rationale for being here. I really do.
Biden huddled with his family over the weekend at Camp David, and we're told that his family thinks he should stay in the race. What's your response?
You know, I've been 50 years, and people say, you know, James, my family loves me, and people like you, y'all just looking for the next scalp, or next notch on your bed to make the next fee. And maybe we do, and maybe they love you, but their judgment is clouded by love. I mean, I really like President Biden, but man, the country wants something new. Let them have it. Why are we fighting this inevitable desire and they can't deliver it? I mean, Trump is going to be sentenced on July the 11th. The Supreme Court is like, come on, we don't even want to discuss this. But give the people a shot. Let them look at who's in the party. And I believe there's staggering talent in the Democratic Party. Get out the way and let 1,000 flowers bloom.
But do you think they should have? Do you think Democrats? Do you think Democrats should have an open convention?
He's being as straightforward as he possibly can be. Well, we got Mayor in the building. What's going on? How you doing today? He's being as straightforward as he can. I mean, like, hey, I don't know what else to say. I mean, what are you gonna do? If this is what people want, then give them something else. And he's right. But again, he wasn't saying this up until now. Up until after Thursday, that really was not his sentiment. All right. Now here's, this is what Republicans are up to. This is what the Republicans are up to because, fuck your kids. that's just one of Republican mottos. That's just one of them. Fuck your kids. Fuck your kids and fuck these hoes. Those are the two Republican monikers right there. Fuck your kids and fuck you if you're a woman. Well, they and fuck you if you're gay and black and brown. Just fuck you. Period. That's the Republican Party line. 13 states with Republican governors opt out of summer food program for kids because again, who needs food? They cite opposition to welfare and administrative costs and declining to participate in summer EBT. A new permanent summer grocery program will help nearly 21 million kids across 37 states get enough to eat this year while school's out. Kids need to struggle. Struggle makes diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds. Fuck having access to nutrition. But 13 states with Republican governors have opted out of the federal program, citing their opposition to what they deride as welfare and their unwillingness to cover administrative costs. Under the new $2.5 billion program created by Congress, eligible low-income households will receive a total of $120 per child over the 3 summer months when school-based free and reduced price lunch programs aren't available. $120 per child over 3 months. And they like, nah, we can't do that. Bro, these people are just evil. Washington, D.C., several territories and tribal nations are participating. Families making up to 185% of the federal poverty level, or $57,720 for a family of four, are eligible. Funds have already been distributed to families in many states. The money will be available on an electronic benefits transfer, which is what EBT stands for. Households enrolled in state administered programs can use their benefits at retail stores that participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as food stamps. The states that chose not to participate in summer EBT are Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. Next year, they could decide to opt in, but maybe not. We'll see. While Oklahoma is not participating in the program, the Cherokee and Chickasaw tribes in the state are. 14 states with Republican governors are participating in the program. It just shows, the level of depravity that's really there. Because most Republicans definitely care about their children eating. This is a corruption issue right here. Okay. The money put on the digital cards comes from the federal government, but states must cover half of the cost of administering the program. The costs include the salaries and benefits of the people running the program, office expenses, and outreach efforts. I guess they're supposed. Oh, it's a map, but it's like it's a mystery map. You gotta, it's a ghost map. Iowa officials said the program would cost $2.2 million for the state to administer. Republican Governor Kim Reynolds said in a news release that federal cash benefit programs don't provide long-term solutions and that the EBT card does nothing to promote nutrition because there are a few restrictions on food purchases. Yes, indeed. You see, so again, this is the common Republican approach of, well, this doesn't totally solve the issue. So let's do nothing about it. I mean, that's basically how Republicans cover things. It's like, this won't fully eliminate the problem, so let's, fuck it. Let's just not do anything. Who cares? You got people running up in elementary schools. Well, doing X, Y, and Z won't take away 100% of the gun violence. So let's just keep it up. Let's just do it. $120 for 3 months. That won't permanently end hunger. So let's just let kids be hungry for 3 months. I mean, it's so stupid. The office of Mississippi Republican Governor Tate Reeves said the state opted out of the program as part of his rejection of attempts to expand the welfare state. How this is so metaphorical. There's another thing that really kills me about just the conservative thinkers. So much of it is you think in slogans. You people think in slogans, and life just isn't that clean cut. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, what the hell? Attempts to expand the welfare state by giving kids access. Exactly. People aren't smart enough to know which foods to buy. You give them $120, it's they're just going to go to the store and buy a bunch of candy and ice cream. Just going to buy a bunch of candy and ice cream. Look, listen, man, your body craves what it needs overall. So yeah, sure. I mean, you can eat like shit if you want to, but generally people are going to eat what they need. Like even if you're overweight, like there's so many reasons why people can be overweight. It could be metabolism, it could be thyroid issues. It could be so many reasons. But generally speaking, your body is going to crave carbs and protein and vitamin C and vitamin B1 and vitamin D and like if you don't have those things, you crave certain foods that do have it. It's, oh my god. But yeah, no, these people kill me with this shit, man. It's like you're thinking in slogans. But let your kids be hungry. Then it's totally different. Let your daughter get pregnant or something. Well, maybe a 15-year-old shouldn't be raising a child. Let's get her an abortion. Let's sneak it. Because until it happens to me, it's not real. Everyone else is irresponsible, but not me. Because I don't have get the fuck out of here, man. Okay, what we got? We got more. We got Texas officials told the Texas Tribune that the federal government didn't give them enough time to get the program up and running. Oh well, we can't feed the children because we're just pressed for time. We're pressed for time, so fuck your kids. I mean, their excuses don't even make sense. Like what? Out of all the things that the government should do, don't you think feeding kids is one of them? Don't you think that's something that we ought to do? I mean, we're not even talking about adults right now. It's not even like we're talking about like shit happens in adult life adult life is what it is. We all know how hard that is. But we're not even talking about adult life. We're not even we don't even have to give them the benefit of the doubt like, well, you lived your life and you're grown, so you just should have made better decisions. These are kids, like they're children. They're helpless. What are they? I mean, what are they going to do? Exactly, the poorest, the poorest ones. All right, so what we got? We got Jason Raven, a spokesperson for the South Carolina Department of Education, told Stateline that the state already has 2 federally funded summer programs that provide free meals to kids 18 and under. But one advocacy group estimates that close to 150,000 children statewide don't get enough food, even with existing programs, the South Carolina Daily Gazette reported. One participating state, Tennessee, has already announced it will opt out of the program in 2025. Yeah, we got to cut costs. Looks like Louisiana, Nebraska, and Vermont. Originally, they were like, nah, but then they were like, okay. We'll wait. We'll wait to say fuck your kids for a few years. In 2 years it'll be fuck your kids. But right now, we still got some humanitarianism flowing through our blood. Vermont Republican Governor Phil Scott's administration initially opted out, saying the state wouldn't be able to afford. Yeah, we can't afford to feed the kids. And it's just all a bunch of BS, man. Roughly 17 million households experienced food insecurity in 2022, according to the USDA, compared with 13.5 million in 2021, 13.8 million in 2020. The agency defines food insecurity as limited or uncertain access to adequate food. In December of 2022, Congress permanently authorized the summer EBT program with a start date of this summer. A decent thing of them to do. Can't really argue against that. Since 2010, the USDA has rolled out several versions of this program through various pilot programs. Miriam Cobbs, a single mother of 3 children who lives in Missouri, my home state, praised the program as a lifeline for parents in the summer months. A May survey commissioned by Meal Kit brand HelloFresh of more than 450 parents with kids under 18 found that 41% of parents struggle to provide food for their families during school breaks. School lunch definitely helps. Public school lunch absolutely helps people save money. That really, and it's much more of a problem when kids don't have access to food because they're still developing. When you're adult, it's never good to be hungry ever. It's one of our basic needs. It's one of our immediate basic needs. But when you're an adult, you're fully developed, so like you can stand to be hungry. But when you're a kid, if you don't get your proper nutrition, that's going to impact how much you grow. It'll impact how your brain develops. It'll impact so many things. It's just ridiculous. And as a grown man, I cost a lot of money to feed. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6", over 200 pounds, and my metabolism is fast. So I'm always hungry. I can't imagine feeding other little mouths that are, you know what I'm saying? Like other little mouths to feed in your states. Like, no, go get another job, you fucking bum. I know you work 70 hours a week, but push for 100. You loser. All right. Now this is some of the craziest mess I've ever seen. We moving on to a Karen. Karen gets fined $700,000 for cutting down neighbor's 200-year-old sequoia tree. I assume they had to sell their house to pay it off. Now listen. Do you understand how crazy it is to cut down your neighbor's tree? That is the entitlement is unbelievable. I mean, what? And if it's 200 years old, that means that tree has been there longer than you, well, clearly longer than you've been alive, but longer than you've been in whatever house it is. So it's like you know, when you first moved to this house or were born in this house, the tree was there. So you're like, you know what? I'd like for you to cut that down just because I just don't like the tree and I want it gone. And then you go and you do it yourself. I mean, like, what? That's some crazy shit, man. That is unbelievably bold. Unbelievably bold. Yeah, and again, it's not even like, yeah, a 200-year-old tree. Yo, this person is crazy and definitely, I don't know how she thought she wasn't gonna get in trouble for that. You can't just cut down trees. This lady paid the price for her egregious mistake. That's an understatement considering she and her family had to sell their house. I don't know. We're about to find out if the whole family was in on it. But do you? I mean, what do you say if you come home and it's like, "Hey, honey, I cut down the neighbor's tree. I hope you don't think I'm about to defend you and be on your side because I no, that certainly wouldn't happen." I'd be like, I mean, that would totally destroy. That would destroy the whole family's relationship with each other. Like we're in this situation because you're an idiot and I mean, that would just destroy everything. All the love would be lost. It turns out that the tree that annoyed her so much, hold on, let's see. The tree that annoyed her so much was a rare 200-year-old sequoia. I guess you could say she was barking up the wrong tree. Not nice little reference. This thread was posted to Reddit. Okay, so man, what a beautiful tree. What a beautiful tree, too. What a piece of shit. I don't want that beautiful tree to be there. I just want the sun to blaze on the grass and kill it. I want brown grass. I want to stare into the sun. What an asshole. We live in an old and big manor that has been split into 3 attached houses. The houses are about 150 years old. And typo. And were built around 5 huge giant sequoias, which were about 200 years old. In the UK, giant sequoias are very rare, and the 2 in our garden up to the house price about £60,000. We live next to 2 really nice neighbors, one young couple and one old couple. The story, okay, so unfortunately, our old neighbors passed away, so their child and her family moved in. Let's call her Joe. Joe was instantly a pain in the ass. We had been sharing chickens with the previous neighbors, and Joe agreed to keep sharing them. However, on her nights, she would constantly forget to put them away, so we would have to check them every night anyway. One night, her little brats thought it would be funny to open our personal duck pen in the night, which leads to a mass slaughter later. The chickens went the same way. About 2 years, oh, that's damn. About 2 years ago, there was a storm and one of her sequoias somehow fell over and died. They were distraught, understandably. But from then on, so this makes it even worse. So at first I was thinking maybe this person just hates trees. But no, it wasn't that. I lost my sequoias, so now you have to lose yours. How pathetic is that? That is unbelievably pathetic. What a loser of a person this is. She would constantly complain about how lucky we were to have 2 sequoias in our garden and how our sequoia was making too much shade in their garden. It wasn't. Anyway, we just thought it was Joe being a pain. There were a few dry threats like they will chop it down or maybe the next storm will blow it down until we came back from a holiday to France to find a huge 6-meter stump and nothing else. I, I mean, how the fuck do you get rid of a 100-foot tree in like 2 weeks? Two of our old British oak trees have been crushed as well. Yeah, I mean, they went to work on that and they waited for them to leave too. They waited for them to leave and then they went to work because, yeah, you got to think like it's not just cutting the tree down, then you have to dismember the tree. You got to cut the tree into pieces and you got to put it somewhere. You got to haul it somewhere. And the fact that they got fined for this means that they just did it themselves because like you can't, like cities have been organized pretty much the same way forever in terms of like how ordinances and laws and stuff work. Like you can't just do whatever you want on your property. If you're gonna cut a tree down, you call a company and they're either gonna be like, we can or we cannot cut down this tree. You can't just dig in your yard because you might go into power lines. You know what I'm saying? Like you might dig into power lines, you might dig into the plumbing or something like that. Like they have to come and be like, I'm sure you've seen call before you dig signs. So you can't just do things like this willy-nilly, which is why they got fined for it. That's how you know they did it themselves. My mom and sisters were, they keep using where incorrectly. We're crying. My dad were oh damn, they can't write. Was red in the face and we had no evidence Joe had done it. She claimed that there had been there was a storm and she had to get rid of it. We had a security camera at the front of the house, but you can get in the back if you go through a few fields. We then were given an 8,000-pound bill for damages to her property. Oh no, yeah, no, she tripping. This woman is stupid. That's what her problem is. She's dumb. She's just stupid. And I mean this is this is a stupid woman. So they $8,000 for damages to her property, and to have the tree chopped up and removed, the wood alone would have been worth a small fortune. Yeah, you'd think, yeah, that would be worth it. They're not just gonna throw that wood away. We had lost all hope, and 2 weeks had passed when my dad came running in from the garden. We had put up a wildlife camera a few months ago and had caught everything. We got a lawyer on the phone and started our revenge. We got a tree surgeon out who said it was an original specimen brought to into the UK in 1860. Along the slavery wasn't over yet. Along with two in America, along with the two that were in Elveston Castle Country Park. There were 218 around the UK, but only 60 now. And they said that because the sequoias don't grow over there. He also told us to call out an engineer because the roots might be in the foundation. So when they rot, it could damage the house. Turns out we would need to redo the foundation. Oh man, so much damage. So yeah, that makes sense. The roots are all up in the foundation. They start to rot. Everything gets unstable. Then we took Joe to court and sued them for damage to property, trespassing, and lots of other smaller claims. The tree would cost $250,000 to have another sequoia that was 200 years put in and looked after. It's basically impossible. Yeah. Plus the damage to the foundation, which was $200,000, and the two oaks, which were another $25,000. So with the smaller claims, it went to about 500,000 pounds, which is equivalent to $700,000. They had to move out. And we have now paid off the mortgage, done a lovely loft and kitchen conversion, and have basically done up the house and garden, as well as plant a 60-year-old sequoia tree in the back garden. We also had our kitchen counter and table made from the old sequoia. We now have a new lovely family living next to us who we share chickens, ducks, and pygmy goats with. They're very nice, and I make a fortune babysitting their kids. I make a fortune babysitting their kids. They ain't never watching their kids. They be gone. Yeah. Oh, what does it say? Many of you wanted to hear about the court case, but she didn't stand a chance. Of course, she didn't stand a chance, especially if they got the footage of it. What a douchebag. There are, I mean, luckily, most people are not like this. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, most people aren't scumbags, but scumbags do exist. Man, man, that's low. Because there's so much intention with it. We're gonna wait till they leave. We're just gonna cut down. You just cut down a tree, and it's not. It's a living thing too. Like, at the end of the day, it is a living thing. I mean, yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, that was perfect. We gonna do it up. We gonna do it up. You made us lose the 200-year-old sequoia tree. We plant a 60-year-old sequoia tree in the back. We make tables and countertops with the old sequoia. We kick you out. Hey, at least there was some good that came out of it in the end. But yeah, that was crazy. Cutting down someone's tree for any reason is you got problems, like serious problems. All right, let's see what's up. Bam. You know what? That does it for today. Yeah. People will do stuff, but like there's levels. It's like there's levels. If you steal a plant, Ariel, if you steal a plant, it's like it's just you're still stealing someone's stuff, but it's not as noticeable. It's not like as big of a deal. You cut someone's tree, they come back from vacation, and there's just a giant stump. Whoops. There was a storm. I had to cut it down. She really thought she was going to get away with that. But thank you everybody for joining me. I apologize if I missed any um um right, Aaron. I was thinking it had to have been in California or something, but that makes it even worse because, like the article was saying, sequoias don't grow over there, so it just costs that much more money to take care of them, to plant them and all of that stuff. And they said that they got a 60-year-old sequoia tree. I guess they transplanted it or something. So that, I guess, I don't know how exactly that works. But yeah, man, stealing peppers and tomatoes, I get, you can, like, that's just not as egregious. I'm going to cut down this 200-year-old beautiful tree because I just feel like it. The selfishness, man. I mean, that level of selfishness is unbelievable. But look, thank y'all so much for joining me. I had a great time with y'all. And we'll be back tomorrow. But again, like I said, at the end of this month, I'll be moving back to St. Louis, and that's not permanently. I'll be there for 4 or 5 months maybe, and then I'll come back out to Jersey or New York, and then I'll have a lot of money in my pockets. I'll be able to travel. I'll be able to go to events. I'll be able to invest more into the YouTube channel. I'll be able to do a lot. I'll be able to get an editor, all of that stuff, which we need. We very much need it. So this is going to work out. This is definitely going to end up working out. At first, I was like, man, I don't want to do it, but then I thought about it a little more and realized that this is just life or God or whatever you want to say, working out in my favor. So I'm gonna take advantage, and we gonna win together. So y'all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow.